Card number 17 in the Major Arcana of Tarot is the Star. And today we have three very, I would say, traditionalist pictures, illuminations, manifestations of symbolism in art for the star. We do have one extra one I'll talk about at the end, which I really like. So key components, easy enough to kind of see how they all share the very similar theme, either a fully naked or partially naked feminine figure and cups or water vessels, and a form of star illumination. And to get kind of into some of the key concepts, words, components to the star, it's first and foremost, illumination. Illumination, hope, aspiration, and another great theme is the word was just there. It got vortexed out of me. Guidance, that was it. So in ancient cultures, stars were very important to many for guidance, navigation, consultation, marking precessions of time, cycles, knowing when correct timing was to do certain activities for the sustenance of us as peoples, as collectives. So also connected very strongly in the symbolism of the star, we have the maiden and the water vessels, which is deeply connected to the water bearer in astrology of Aquarius. Interesting to note, Aquarius is a air sign, but the symbolism is still very much connected to water. And these are interesting musings, and another one of a similar nature that springs to mind is the older Capricorn symbolism was the sea goat. I've thought about musing on the concepts of seas and water to do with heavenly bodies. And in many traditions, they talk about the cosmic sea or space as an ocean, or before anything was formed in solidified matter, there was the cosmic sea, or a sea of chaos. Many different mythologies talk about this, so I don't see it unfitting or strange that the star also has a whole bunch of water symbolism going through it. Now, what is the point or the purpose of the water symbolism, or the two cups that, as you'll see on the left and right card, are often pouring? So these can be interpreted in many ways, but my interpretation of them, to keep it concise and simple, is it is about transmission of knowledge and higher knowledge, and that can come in the forms of intuition, dreams, um, epiphanies, ideas, concepts of light that illuminate our path, and guidance of what is useful in our journey here in our earthly vessels. And it's important to understand that we need to have a flow with this to not bring in stagnation within ourselves and within our journey as a species even. So this is why you will often see the pouring of the liquids from the chalices, or the flowing of them. And there are other interpretations of that go into aspects of duality, or even aspects of biology within our systems, of energy and currents and how it flows, all these other things. You can look into that if you so choose, and many people share about that information. Another common symbolism you will see is of a kind of bridging sitting or standing position of 1 foot on solid ground, 1 foot kind of hovering or touching the waters. Again, I take this as a nice kind of reminder and symbolism to understand that the knowledge or learning, inspirations, guidance, all these things that we can receive, as wonderful as they are, if we don't ground them into our personal living life experience and how we operate within this realm, it's imbalanced, or it's kind of brings up the fundamental question: what is the point of them? And everything has points, lovely points, like a star. It has many points that radiate many beams, and they speak to each of us uniquely, and what resonates for one might not resonate for another, and this is fine. The other interesting aspect, I think, about the kind of wateriness, earthiness, and light/fireness about this card is, like, with Aquarius, yes, we are changing epochs of timing in the astrological precession into an Aquarian age. Many people are quite excited about that. They might be looking around the world going, interesting times. They can be a bit chaotic in these transitioning stages. But there are shadow sides to everything, or pitfalls, or things of the like. And with Aquarius, it is said and known, there can be a tendency towards delusion within fantasy, escapism, delusionism, and that's a part. Not all visions or dreams or sacred light teachings or fantasies are necessarily going to help us. And the reality is that the key is always going to be personal discernment for yourself of what helps your growth, evolution, processes, journey. Yeah. Is there anything else worth talking about with the star? Probably. Probably there is, but Um, I find the star in context quite an interesting kind of term. We use it in many ways to indicate to somebody oftentimes that they are notable, worthy of attention, maybe even famous. Uh, and in the whole hero, idol worship, celebrity culture thing that kind of exists still, sort of strangely. Um, yeah, it's. I see it largely as a shame, a hijacking of our attention into, um, you know, my question would be with all of that, are the beings that are emulating um, what we should aspire to or giving us guidance, are they really healthy, fit beings to be doing so? Yeah, sure, sometimes, somewhat. But if if it outsources our awareness and reality from our own present life beingness and the beings around us, um, then yeah, I think it's a sham, to be honest. Um, there's so many wonderful, talented beings that, because of the architecture of the systems we live in, uh, aren't widely circulated, aren't talked about, aren't supported, praised, acknowledged. And that's cool. It's kind of cool. It's kind of fine in a way, but as a collective, we're probably missing out at present on so much wonderful stuff by having our attention guided into some pretty flimsy, kind of vacuous realities created. But hey, that's just my couple of cents there. A concept of fire and light in the star is really interesting. I was musing a little bit and thinking about how the ancients referred to primordialness of things of being this ocean, the sea, the vastness. And I wondered as well what happens to a form of fire within such an environment. Well, how can fire exist in water? I mean, that's we're getting back to some of the elementalism, and I love seeing it portrayed and expressed and explored through tarot. So my clearest example I could recall seeing was when magma, our planet has the fiery core nature of it, just like us. And when this seepages from our planet's core underneath the ocean escape and meet this dark, deep, cold water system, what happens is an interesting process. It's what's called, they call it implosion rather than explosion. The outward force expanding, it's basically implosion. These things like shrink, condense. And basically what happens is it solidifies. It solidifies on this outer layer into kind of almost like this earthly kind of element. And you could maybe even speculate on, wow, fascinating. Wonder how some planets might have been formed in ways, you know. I mean, there's very interesting speculations one could go on into that particular realm. So we do have this almost strangely interchangeable at times, depending on perspective, vantage point of earth, of air and water. Um, and both are unique and interesting. So the air part is mind, thought, ideas with these components. The watery part is kind of more akin to, it can be emotion, but that's an oversimplification, I think. It's like intuitive knowing. It's tapping into the currents and systems, and systems of forces around us that bring us knowledge. And like particles of light, or forms that travel through a medium, whether it be water, whether it be air. It's not really overly necessary to have a definite on that, because we are receivers, and most great people who come up with amazing, interesting ideas, they can be scientists, artists, all sorts of creationary activity. Most are of the shared beliefs that they are receiving this knowledge, or knowledge is coming through them, or the process of it. They are not the generator, creator as such. They are in part, but it's a receptivity. And I think the star really reminds us to be receptive to things outside ourselves. The idea of a human as an impermeable barrier of self-generatingness that is a big myth. We are permeable. We are 70% water, but then at molecular structure levels, we're 90 something percent empty space. So there's an allowance of less rigidity in having to be a made person of self-generation, if you understand what I'm saying. We are made by the life experiences we have, the things that inspire us, the joys and delights that come from having a physical incarnation in this realm. These are all the things that make and inform and create us. Yeah, we are all a part of that, all a part of everything. But the small self who wants to say the I made all of this, or made me, is a very, again, a strange delusion. So the star is about being open to that. Teachers beyond yourself, wisdom beyond yourself, wisdom, knowledge, guidance, that if you are sincere enough to ask and be receptive, like a vessel is receptive to being filled, you can gain a lot. And so with nothing much more to say, I went on a bit of a tangent. So I'll finish up now with the star from I didn't go through these cards, how slack of me. We had at the back of the big card Alchemical Visions tarot. This over here is the Aleister Crowley tarot, and this one here is the Cosmic, where did it go? Cosmic Tarot. I was looking for another word there. No, just the Cosmic Tarot. And in the middle, finish off, we have the star from the Alchemist's Garden. taro, which is the opium poppy, associated with sleep, dreams, entering other realms, anesthetizing, chilling pain. Yeah, so again, it's almost like, how do I describe it? Somewhat not being as constricted in one's earthly fixed identity, and allowing flow, allowing things to come to you from outside, to be transported into these maybe liminal space realms where ideas, inspirations, guidance can come from and flow. And what I really love in this card, it's if you haven't noticed it, is even the poppy, in the way it's been shown, it almost echoes the figure, the feminine form and flower, and these an opening bud, and then the poppy on one side as two kind of cups or vessels containing seeds. And one might already be somewhat familiar with the concept of the term star seeds, beings that come from different parts and star systems and galaxies that have a unique and special understanding and insight in life to give to other people. And this is a well explored topic and documented, people's personal experiences, contacts. So I just thought I'd throw in the lovely opium poppy star to finish. So that was the star, at least from a few vantage points, from me, through me, etc. And hope you enjoyed it, and we shall progress onwards shortly to the next one. Aroha nui, and happy shining in your world.